Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and these are my 2017 Mid-Year Movie Awards. I'm not one that chooses to participate in the best movies of the year so far or worst movies so far. I save those type of lists for the end of the year. But what I decided I would like to try is kick off what should become an annual video that is a mid-year movie awards video. So we're going to just kind of discuss the best of and the worst of movies in general and go from there. And we're going to kick this video off with my top 3 favorite films so far this year. And these 3 films aren't in order because I can't choose. They're all so good, and there are a ton of movies that I've really enjoyed so far this year that I kind of had in that third spot up until right the last second. But these are the 3 that I think are the best thus far in 2017. We're going to kick things off with a film that has kind of turned me into a crazy person. I'm just so obsessed in general, and that is Wonder Woman. This film takes the cake for the most viewings I've had so far in the year, and possibly the most times I've ever seen a movie in the theater. I've watched it 5 times. But I absolutely love it. It inspired me, it uplifted me. It literally took my breath away in moments during my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth watchings of the film. I absolutely love this movie. I understand its faults, I accept its faults, but I still am just obsessed and in love with Wonder Woman. And the other superhero movie I am obsessed and in love with is Logan. So I only saw this one 3 times in the movie theaters. But oh, wow. Is this film good? I don't know that there's a better made film so far this year. Maybe the one that's coming up as my number 3 could give it a run for its money. But Logan is just so expertly made. This is not just a comic book film. This is not just a drama. This is not just a road trip movie. It's all of these different genres executed so well. It could make the top of lists in so many different categories. Plus, the emotional impact that takes place here in Logan. Woo! It was a punch to the gut. And it's an end of an era that I'm so sad to see end, but I'm so happy they're sending it off on this note. So my last pick for my favorite movie so far of the year is one that I just saw, and that's Baby Driver. I absolutely love this movie. Like Logan, I think it's nearly perfectly made and executed. It was just so much fun to watch, and it was just so astonishing to watch how well it was edited and put together. It's my new favorite Edgar Wright film. I loved this movie. So it barely snuck in to the top 3 right there at the end. Obviously, it hasn't been released to theaters yet, so it only has 1 viewing so far, but it was an impactful first viewing. And now let's jump to the other end of the spectrum and discuss my 3 least favorite films of the year thus far. Starting off with the one I just saw most recently, and that's Transformers: The Last Knight. I am almost at a loss of words for this film. I really think it is just such a mess. Oh my goodness. Just watching it, there was so little for me to extract for the positives in my review. It's disheartening because I do actually enjoy the first Transformers movie. I know some people say it's the only passable one, but I enjoyed it, especially when it came out. I was really digging it. And then the series is just flatlined so hard that I'm like, oh, alrighty then, we're here. I don't really have words, and I'm not going to go too far into it. You can watch my full review if you want to hear my full thoughts on why this film is such a mess. And I'm sure I'll skewer it a lot more when we get to that top 10 worst movies of 2017. But for now, my next 2 films are both horror films, which kills me as a horror fan. But we're going to kick this off with The Bye-Bye Man. This didn't even feel like a professional film. It seriously felt like a student project to me. It was so incompetently and poorly made that I'm stunned it even got into theaters. That's what a shoddy job was done in this movie. The acting, the shot composition, the editing, none of it looked good at all. It was actually kind of painful to sit through the entirety of this film. I was just watching like, what? How is this not straight to Netflix? And then the other is a sequel that none of us asked for, none of us wanted, and after seeing, none of us wish had ever been made, and that is Rings. You just leave, like, what was that? Like, that was horrible. It was just so bad in every sense. Whatever. So look for my worst movies of the year list to get a proper skewering and roast of those 3 films, along with 7 others. Who knows, maybe we get 10 films way worse than anything we've seen this far, and those 3 don't even make it. We'll have to wait and see. So the biggest surprise for me so far this year has been Get Out. Coming from a box office perspective, it's by far the biggest shock and biggest pleasant surprise that I've seen. It's made over $200 million worldwide, like 170 of that right here in the United States alone. And it was made for like $5 million. That's insane. It's breaking records for films like written and directed by a black person, which is fantastic. It had black unknowns in these lead roles, and it killed it. I have to say, that trailer was super buzzworthy, but I was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know why everyone's so excited for this. It kind of looks cheesy. It kind of looks ridiculous to me. And wow, was I wrong. I absolutely love Get Out. It was in that contention for top 3, and it for sure is the biggest surprise that I've had with the film so far this year. My biggest disappointment so far this year is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I really had high hopes for this film. I thought it was going to be a really fun, really good movie, at least right in the vicinity of the first. And what I got was a jumbled mess of a script and story. Now, definitely, there are fun parts to this film. There are a lot of laughs. There are a lot of fun, cool sequences. But there are just so many storylines shoved into this movie, and there are so many we don't need, and nobody really was like pining to get that backstory. And here we are, halfway through the year, and Marvel definitively has the worst comic book or superhero movie of the year, in my opinion. And if we add in Power Rangers and Captain Underpants, I still would put it in last place. So, sorry, Marvel fans. This is certainly nowhere near the level of Wonder Woman, Logan, or the Lego Batman movie. So I was going to award Best Lead Acting and Best Supporting Acting, both male and female, just period. But in my personal opinion, they both come from the same film, so we're going to lump them together. Best Lead and Supporting Acting goes to Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart from Logan. Rightfully so, Patrick Stewart has been receiving a ton of praise for his performance. I'm going to say this is one of the best performances I've ever seen Patrick Stewart do, and I'm just hoping Fox does what they need to do. They put the money, they get this campaign out, and really push for Patrick Stewart to get a Best Supporting Actor nomination. Because right now, I think it's the best acting performance from any film, indie, blockbuster, all of it, that I've seen so far this year. I think he has a very viable shot of getting in, at least as a nominee for Best Supporting, and it would be such a crime if they didn't push for it. It's definitely a doable task, and it's more than a deserving performance for such a nomination. So he, hands down, is Best Supporting Actor thus far. But Hugh Jackman has been kind of overlooked in what a fantastic performance he also gave. And I'm saying this with indies in mind, with blockbusters, all of that as well. I think Hugh Jackman has gave the best leading performance in any film. Yes, he gets to do all those big violent action sequences and go berserk and get crazy. But I have never seen Hugh Jackman act this deep. This is the best performance I've ever seen from Hugh as an actor, and it completely moved me. I mean, I was floored by how great the acting in this film was across the board, but definitely from these two. Best original song for a film so far this year. So there actually have been quite a few really good jams, like some bops from music so far this year. Of course, we have Sia, who has kind of become the soundtrack queen. She featured on the 50 Shades Darker soundtrack. She featured on the Wonder Woman soundtrack. And I actually really enjoy both of those songs that she contributed. I actually like a lot of songs off of the 50 Shades Darker soundtrack, including like Bomb Beady Bomb by Nick Jonas and Nicki Minaj, as well as Pray. So there's a lot of good music on that 50 Shades soundtrack. But my personal pick, I don't think is going to be a very popular pick, is one that I actually jam to and I think is like a good bop, especially heading into the summer, and that is Good Life by G-Eazy and Kehlani from The Fate of the Furious. I think it's a really fun song, as I said, great for summer, and it really encompasses the Fate of the Furious as a film. And these movies always have really good soundtracks as well. Music is such a cornerstone of the Fast and Furious franchise, and I think this is just the latest in really good songs that have come from the films. Now I'm going to cap off this video with a look at the box office, and we're going to kind of react to what has taken place. So the awards for biggest box office earners thus far. Let's just go over the top three. Domestically, at number 1, we have Beauty and the Beast, which has grossed right around $503 million. I knew that Beauty and the Beast was going to be a very big hit for Disney. Did I think it would be able to cross $500 million domestically? Not a chance. The list is so short for movies that have made that milestone that it's really impressive that that movie was able to become such an event here in the United States. And Disney has done this now for 2 years in a row, because Finding Dory almost got to that 500 million mark and was a good success overseas as well, clearly. But both of these films really just caught fire here. They really resonated with the US and Canadian moviegoers, and they became events for family films, and that's really impressive. So huge kudos to Beauty and the Beast for that insane box office figure. At number 2 domestically is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So this one is right in the 370 million range and counting. And I don't think this one is really a shock to anyone. Honestly, the only shock is that this is not number 1 on this list domestically. And the fact that it's over 100 million behind the number 1 film. That is a bit of a shock. But we all knew that Guardians of the Galaxy was beloved and that this sequel was going to pull in some major bank. And then at number 3, we have Wonder Woman, which just this past weekend flew past the $300 million mark domestically with another great hold. And I'm just so happy that Wonder Woman has delivered success story after success story after success story in the news. Original forecasting had this movie at opening at about $65 million. It opened at 103. Amazing. It then had a second weekend drop under 45%. Mind-blowing. And then it went on to have a third and fourth weekend drop in the 30 percentiles. It really is a cultural event that has taken place with Wonder Woman that I personally am so happy to be a part of. Now, as of right now, it definitely is playing much stronger in the US and Canada, as you'll see when we go over to the worldwide numbers. Wonder Woman's not in the top 3 there, not even really close yet. But regardless, it has made such a strong impact here. It opened over $30 million less than Suicide Squad, and by the end of this next upcoming week, it will blow past Suicide Squad entire domestic run. And not only very realistically, but very much probably is going to go ahead and fly right on past Batman v Superman, which opened at 166 million to Wonder Woman's 103. That is amazing, and big sign to Warner Brothers. This is the kind of staying power you have when you have an iconic character, you create that movement, and then you deliver a great film. So I'm so proud of Wonder Woman, and so happy it has cleared the 300 million mark and is coming for that 350 next. Now over to the worldwide box office, where Beauty and the Beast reigns supreme yet again. So it racked up a $1.25 billion worldwide gross, which is just fantastic. It's the new standard for the live-action Disney fairy tales. And it shows that even with that gay controversy and these countries and these theaters saying, we will not show that, and then Russia backing off and saying, well, maybe just not to small children. That controversy not only didn't hurt Beauty and the Beast, it propelled it to astronomical numbers for a film like this. At number 2, we have The Fate of the Furious, just behind Beauty and the Beast with $1.23 billion. And although it is just behind, it's now a foregone conclusion. It's too far off in the distance for Fate of the Furious to catch Beauty. So it's definitively that number 2 spot for now. And this one is definitely a story because stateside, Fate of the Furious has performed well. I mean, it's still made over $220 million. But the big story, it became only the 6th movie ever to get over $1 billion with international box office alone. Let that sink in. This film didn't even need to open in the United States and Canada to reach the $1 billion club. That's insane. So in film number 9, it is playing kind of like a Transformers film now. It's looking a little bit more like that series or the Pirates of the Caribbean series, where domestically we're coming down, but worldwide there's no slowing down for this car franchise. China is eating it up. These movies are big, they're fun, they appeal to a huge broad audience, and again, they are such a great film franchise for diversity and having a cast that just spans all the different races, and it does it so well. I enjoyed The Fate of the Furious, so I don't mind seeing the success, even though I know a lot of you are pretty disappointed with the rest of the world for getting it to this high number. And then at number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 makes an appearance on the worldwide list as well. Currently, it's heading toward 900 million worldwide, and I don't think it's going to have the legs to reach that $1 billion club, which isn't a huge deal. This is a big uptick for the second one, even though it's a dip in quality from its predecessor. So good on Guardians of the Galaxy for getting this far. And again, I don't think anyone is really shocked that it made the top 3 worldwide so far either. So those are just some of the films and the categories I personally wanted to highlight. There are others like Best Score, but there's only going to be a few standout scores for the year, I think. I'm going to save that for just a comprehensive list at the end of the year. But I definitely want to hear, what are your favorite movies so far of the year? What are your least favorite? And what are your favorite moments? Whether that be through music, through individual moments, whether that be big shocks, big surprises, big disappointments. What has stood out to you so far in 2017 in the world of film? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!